I didn't make money in real estate because I was the smartest guy or because I had found the perfect formula. I made money because I understood one thing. This is about finding opportunities. First, you need to understand that you create attention and then you convert that attention. This video today is my money model, my 7 ways of creating attention, meaning how I market, and my 5 ways as far as converting that attention to deals, my sales process. So welcome back. This is my real estate channel where I go through my 20 plus years worth of lessons so that you don't have to go through the same headache. Use it useful. Today's presentation, like I said, is my money model. It's the deck I go through, so you will have these visuals behind me somewhere here so that you can follow the data points and my bullets for you. Let's get right to it. So like I said, I've done real estate over the last 20 plus years in several countries, in the US and in Europe. I managed close to 300 transactions. They are fix and flips, they are land development deals, they are apartment complexes, and they are just normal rentals, so to say. But these are my lessons. Every single company that I have launched has reached a multi-million dollar status. So I'm not saying this to get bragging rights. I'm just saying that hopefully my background is applicable to you so that you get something useful out of these. That's why I do it, so that I can actually pass the lessons on to you guys as well. Okay, so over the next couple of pages, you'll see my previous deals. I've done, like I said, everything from office deals to apartments, and then doing historic renovations, doing rentals, doing new construction with my townhouses. So that's what I've done, and these are the lessons now that I was able to put together for you guys. Business ultimately boils down to a couple of things. Number 1, how you get customers, and number 2, how you deliver to those same customers. So today's video is about all of that. So how do we get customers? And that's the same as finding opportunities in real estate. On to the next page. So there's 2 skills really required. So how do I create attention, meaning that's my marketing process. It could be one-to-one or one-to-many. And then as far as the sales process goes, so that's the converting the attention into real deals, so real opportunities. So both of these skills you need in order to make money. Not just be an average investor in the marketplace, but be able to take your business to the next level, to sustainable growth, okay? So why attention and conversion matters. So on this page, you will see a couple of slides actually giving you the data. So if we look at different ways to create attention, so we can see that paid ads have a 6.5% conversion rate compared to, for instance, email, Google ads, or Facebook ads. So in this case, direct marketing one-to-one is a very effective way to do it. So you can run paid ads, and of those, Facebook has been less effective than Google for me in the past, and this data about the whole real estate market supports that as well. But direct mailers, believe it or not, those yellow letters and those postcards still work. On the next, on the right-hand side, there's data, there's some numbers about how conversion differs. So first responder, as far as how fast you are, is a very superior tactic to referrals versus cold leads. So you can see the biggest difference, 78% versus 35 versus 5%. So then attention channels. This is the intro for the first part of the video. So there are 7 different ways how you can create attention. I'm going to walk you through every single one of these and give you the details behind them. So quickly, agents, wholesalers, direct marketing, paid ads, driving for dollars, gatekeepers, and auctions. I'm going to give you my lessons, how I started, and how you can do the exact same thing. So let's start with agents first. So this is my number 1 way of creating attention, finding opportunities. Over 90% of my deals have always come from agents or through agents. It doesn't matter which country I have lived in. It's been here in Finland or in the US, it's always been the same thing. When I started for the first time, like I mentioned, I left my director level corporate job in a Fortune 500 company, and I was like, okay, what the heck am I going to do next? I had done real estate as a side hustle for the last 10 years, so I already had some exposure to the game, but I had never done real estate in the US, let alone in that city, so I didn't really know anybody. I had no comms, I had no contractor data, I didn't know a single agent. What did I do first? This is a typical cold calling structure. Okay, reach out to people you don't know. Who are the gatekeepers? You need to understand that real estate agents control roughly 94% of all the deals, according to National Association of Realtors in the US. The remaining 6% are for sale by owner deals. So this is your best bet to find deals and scale your business. What did I do? I simply started calling people. I picked up the phone, I looked at 10 to 15 zip codes in the city that I knew that investors typically played in. these were the investor-friendly areas. And I called every single listing agent, sometimes multiple times, reaching out. Most of them just like ignored my calls or said, who the heck are you? And I always had the same pitch. I'm this guy who just entered the game. I've done deals in the past, but those have been passive, mostly rentals in a different country. They were like, okay, so you don't have any experience, you don't know anybody. But I'm like, yeah, so I'm the guy who always makes good promises and keeps them all. They were like, okay, so didn't you understand that everybody says the same thing? And my counter response to that was that, yes, I understand, but the difference is that I actually keep my promises. The other guys only make those promises. Anyhow, that's how I got my foot in the door after doing it relentlessly. I, of course, needed a buyer's agent as well who submitted my offers, because I wasn't just contacting people. I was the one who wanted to submit offers as well so that I would get deals and actually start making money. I went through a couple of agents. 2 buyer's agents quit on me, and the third one was the one I worked with for a very long period of time. But persistence is the key here. Understanding that real estate agents, first of all, they represent the seller in the transaction. So the number one responsibility is to make sure that the person who hired them, their interests are being taken into consideration and served. So why would they work with me? Obviously, trust is one thing, but if you don't know anybody, you haven't worked with them in the past, why would they work with you? So you just have to get your foot in the door. I was willing to work for free. I was willing to tour the properties. I was willing to give them repair estimates, and I was willing to give them my view on ARV after repair value so that I would actually, little by little, step by step, gain their trust. And understand that real estate agents, they control 2 types of deals. There's the off-market listings and the active listings on the MLS. So first, you probably have to bid on the so-called worst deals that are listed. But ultimately, once you gain trust, then you have access to those pocket listings that are not yet on the MLS or seen by anybody else. So that's really the key there. But this is, I can't highlight this enough, working with real estate agents is probably your best bet, but there's also plenty of competition down the road. So how I was able to do that, so consistent cold outreach, just keep calling and build these relationships. So that's really the key issue here. Wholesalers, number 2. I've done probably close to 10 deals over the last 20 years with wholesalers. Wholesalers are other investors. So if you think about the Q4 end of 2024 statistics in the US, roughly 17% of the deals, of all the deals, went to investors. So that's a significant number. So every single property that's being put under contract by another fellow investor is a potential opportunity for you, because we don't know if these people are going to flip it, if they're going to wholesale it, or if they're going to hold on to it, or whatever they're going to do. Some of these deals end up then back in the marketplace. These investors are shopping them to other investors. So that's how you know that there's already something that's under contract. So the pros of that way of working is that it's already been vetted by somebody, it's already under contract, you know what the price is, and usually they already have comps and rehab estimates. The thing is that the downside, the con side, is that there's usually quite a lot of competition, because obviously these people want to get the best possible price or the highest price. So you might not get the best deal, but there's convenience. It's easy and it's convenient, and that's always valuable to all of us. How I create attention with wholesalers, I basically post on internet forums. I go to local investor meetings, which is probably the best way to do it, or I contact people based on listings. So sometimes you see these people post them on Facebook groups or overall on the internet, BiggerPocket, Reddit, and so forth. And that's how you create your connections and your activity with these people. Okay, that was number 2. So moving on, number 3, we have direct marketing. This is your yellow letters, this is your postcards, this is your email campaigns, and your cold calling as well. This is pretty much my number 3 deal source in the past, and I have done my share of yellow letters and postcards. And the thing that really seems to be working, first of all, the thing is that you need to understand you have to do enough volume. So many people just try for a month or 2, send 500 letters and say, okay, this never worked out, it's not for me. But according to my experience from the past, you have to do at least 1,000 pieces of mailings per month, and then ramp your volume up from there. and keep that going. So what I usually do is that I mail to the same people at least 3 to 4 times. Ideally, you would have a large enough base, let's say a couple of zip codes with 10,000 households, and you would email these people, or you would send them postcards and Christmas calendars and whatever regularly, at least once every 2 or 3 months. And that's how you keep your name visible in their household. And whenever they have a need to sell, if you're an agent, obviously it's a different story, but if I'm an investor, I'm offering a fast transaction, an easy transaction with these people. So that would be the way to go there. But consistency is absolutely key. Nothing is going to happen with just once. You do 500 yellow letters and you expect good results. No. According to industry standards, your open rate is somewhere, or the response rate is somewhere in the 5 to 9%. To me, it looks really high. My experience shows that it's roughly 3 to 5% more than 5 to 9%. But maybe my campaigns were not that effective, but I was able to do a lot of deals with this. This was, like I said, my number 3 deal source. But consistency is key. And the other thing you need to remember is that every single piece of letter, try to keep it extremely simple. So your copy has 3 sides or 3 parts. It's got hook, message, and CTA. So in the hook, you basically talk about people's feelings, emotions, the problems they have. And then you offer a quick solution, and CTA, call to action, is basically where you tell them what to do. So contact me, call me, email me, or whatever. But keep your copy simple, and keep in mind that people are always, they gravitate towards solutions. So they are not after selling their home potentially, but they are after getting to the next level, being able to fix their feelings and solve their problems, so to say. It's not about selling one thing, but it's about going to the next level. And what are the feelings that they have at the end of the day when you have been able to fix their problems? Okay. Like I said, how I create attention, so it's about emphasizing ease, speed, and trust ultimately is the thing as well. So paid ads, absolutely a thing that works. My number 2 deal source in the past, and believe it or not, the most effective paid ads for me have been newspaper ads, especially here in Europe. A 3-line ad, I have a example here about the copy that works. Sell your home in 7 days, no agents, no fees, cash in hand, no cleanup, no surprises, fast close. These types of ways to demonstrate what I'm able to put together. So people always value is all about ease, speed, and risk-free transactions. If you can nail that in your short copy with your paid ad, whether it's your Facebook or Google ad or your newspaper ad, you're onto something. And the same thing, the consistency has to be there. Like I said, my best platform has been local newspapers, but I've also done Facebook ads and Google ads. Facebook has never really been the place for me. Google somewhat successful with, but like I said, newspaper was really the thing that nailed it for me, especially here in Europe. Repeated testing, strong call to action, obviously, and strong hook as well. So really talk about people's emotions and feelings when you target them. So that has been super, super effective for me in the past. Number 5, a little, I would say, a marginal effort, but driving for dollars. There are people, especially in the US, who knock on doors, who drive for dollars. What this means is that you look for signs of motivation. So you go to a specific area, part of town where you see properties that are under, I would say, constant need of renovation. So you look for motivation. What kind of people would be motivated? The ones who have kind of neglected their home. So maybe you see a blue tarp covering the roof and yard is not being taken care of and fence is almost about to collapse and stuff like that. So you basically spot these opportunities that nobody else sees. And then you either go and knock on the door or you find out who the owner is and you contact them, sending letters, calling them, or being persistent with any other way of marketing. What I have actually done semi-successfully, I have had a couple of deals this way in the past, is that every time I get a property under contract in the same area, I always knock on every door next to my target property and introduce myself. I say what I'm doing, and I'm asking these people not if they know anybody who's willing to say, I'm asking who do you know that's willing to sell their property, because I offer ease, peace of mind, fast transactions, and risk-free deals so that they would be able to then introduce somebody to me, and then I'm able to help everybody. But that has been very useful because it also helps you with your renovation. People, they don't have that many questions. They don't wonder who bought the property, what they are doing, and so forth. So information is key there. But this is what I have done. Like I said, knocking on everybody's door, maybe handing out some flyers, 10 to 50 per area, just making sure that they are close to the property that everybody knows. Because usually if there's a property that's being neglected, the neighbors know what's going on and they're extremely happy that somebody bought it and is now taking care of it. So that's driving for dollars. The next one is a huge one. So it's what I call the network gatekeepers. These are the other people, so those so-called mortgage lenders, brokers. These could be your contractors, these could be junk haulers, these could be property managers, and everybody involved in the whole value chain. But the idea is that these are the people who they know first if the property owner is interested in selling. So I'll give you an example. Attorney would be one. A divorce attorney would be a person in your network who would give you potential leads and deals, of course, with the permission of the people that they work for, that, hey, this could be a couple that could be interested in selling. And of course, your job is then to respect the attorney or the contractor or whoever gave you this referral so that you protect these people's privacy and you also take care of your people. Because always ask yourself, why would a mortgage broker be willing, or why would they work with me? Because you are able to fix their clients' problems, or you would be able to use that mortgage broker as your preferred lender when you qualify your buyers, when you have rehabbed the property and it's now hitting the market. Same thing with contractors. So don't expect anybody to give you just a deal or a lead without you then working with them down the road. People always expect, it's a two-way street. People always expect you to return the favor. So that's the thing. But this is a very, very effective way of getting leads that nobody else is aware of, because competition is the thing that we don't really like, right? So we want those exclusive deals, those off-market deals that nobody else really knows about yet. How do you create attention? You obviously pay referral fees, you respond immediately, you keep your promises. That's the number one thing. You don't make empty promises. You don't expect people to just hand out deals for you without you returning the favor at some point. So always ask, what's in it for these people? What is that they value? A contractor obviously needs projects. A mortgage lender wants to make sure that he or she gets more business down the road as well. Attorneys, you give them a referral fee or whatever the deal is. But ultimately, people want to help each other out. But these so-called gatekeepers are, I would say, a very big untapped potential for many investors. So identify your key people in your network and do everything in your power to keep in touch with them, and then make sure that you take good care of these people. Last but not least, this is the seventh way of creating attention, is auctions. I have not actually bought any properties from auctions. I have attended a few, but this has typically worked. Let's say back in the day when we had the housing crisis or the housing collapse in California, in the US in 08 and 09, I would say back in 2010, 2011, we would be able to see these big Wall Street companies, these real estate investment trusts who started buying properties off the courthouse steps. So they bought properties in bulk. So I first noticed that, there's no way for me to compete against these people. According to my standards, they overpaid. In hindsight, they obviously knew what they were doing, because pretty much every single deal that they made were able to purchase turned out to be great rentals for them, and they probably got rid of the properties down the road. But this is for you to keep in mind. So there's limited due diligence availabilities. So whatever you buy is kind of like a blind purchase. That's why I've never been a big fan of them. But it's something for people with more money maybe, when you can buy more properties in bulk, but definitely an option for us to keep an eye on. Okay, so now we talked about those 7 different ways to create attention. Now, what about converting that attention? This is the so-called sales process. There are 5 ways. I'm going to walk you through those next. First one, speed to lead, then follow up, yes, no test, deliver value, and build trust. Conversion system 1, speed to lead. So this is a real strategy, believe it or not. According to numbers, if we look at it, if you answer within 60 seconds when somebody is approaching you, let's say I'll give you an example. You have your paid ads campaign. Let's say you have a newspaper ad and you give them instructions, your CTA, call to action, is to call this number. There's a person that sends you a text, for instance, or calls you. Obviously, if you are able to return their call or pick up right away, be the first responder, so to say. So the numbers indicate that your chances of closing that are 390% more if you answer within 60 seconds. Within 5 minutes, your chances to connect are 100% higher. So this is a real strategy. Speed is a real thing. How do I do that? I always keep my phone nearby. Whenever anybody calls me, I pick up right away. I usually prioritize my calls anyhow. And if I miss, for whatever reason, I miss my call, I have a meeting or I have to go somewhere or whatever, sometimes obviously that happens, I call them right back. So I understand that speed and urgency is a real strategy. This is, I would say, one of the most effective ways for me to be able to close deals. When agents call me, I always picked up. I was the first guy there. I dropped everything else. Hey, EJ, would you be willing to come and take a look at this property? I don't know if it pencils out. There could be a cracked slab or we could have some issues with the foundation. Absolutely no worries. I don't want to waste your time. No, you're not wasting my time. Keep your promise, make it easy for them, and be the first one there. It's a first responder strategy also with agents. And if you like it, you probably have that first opportunity to say yes or no. It's a real strategy, keep in mind. So don't be one of those people who never picks up, who cannot be reached. People don't bother calling you again. Number 2, 6-touch follow-up. Okay, so data from sales shows that most deals close after 4 to 6 touch points. Okay, so people need to be convinced. They are confused, they have emotions involved, and they don't know what to do. So 1 or 2 touch-ups or follow-ups is not enough. Most investors quit after once or twice trying to get a hold of somebody. What I do personally is that I follow this call text sequence, meaning let's say day 0, I call somebody up and then no answer. Then a couple of days later, I send them a text introducing, basically summarizing what I said. It's the brief way of saying it. Could be email as well. Then let's say a few days later, I call them again, and then the next follow-up after that is again text. So call text is my preferred way of doing it. And I try to do 4 to 6 times per lead. But this, if you are persistent, if you have a systematic way of tracking these leads and then following up with them, you will close more deals than anybody else in the marketplace, guaranteed. Number 3, a 3-minute yes or no test. So what this really means is that knowing what you want is the first step. So in order for you to be successful, so that you don't waste anybody's time, so you don't waste your own time, I need you to go back and think about what is that you really want. How much equity does every single deal have to be? In which areas do you operate? Is it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house or a 4-bedroom, 2-bath? So when somebody calls you, you need to be able to know the market so well, know immediately what the after repair value is and how much typically you spend on your rehabs, that you can tell in 3 minutes whether somebody's wasting your time or not. Yes, some of the properties require you to go and visit them in person. That's fine. But there are so many deals that you can basically look at by just being by your computer and running the numbers, using your Excel spreadsheet. You don't need to spend 60 minutes, let alone a couple of hours on a deal. It's a 3-minute yes or no test. This is how you improve your productivity. You don't have to go to the internet discussion forums and ask anybody else, because you know what your values are and you know how to make decisions. This is how you save a lot of time. This is how you crank your volume up, and this is how you get your numbers up at the same time. So having your own internal value system in place. This is what I call the 3-minute yes or no test. And my practical example is 30% minimum equity or discount in my 3 target zip codes. We have under 50K, can close in 30 to 40 days, as an example. Whatever your thing is, it's obviously could be different for rentals versus land deals versus whatever, but the idea is to have your values in place. Number 4, huge one, understand and deliver value. So value is different depending on who you talk to. Like we said in the beginning, so if you think about 94% of the deals in the marketplace are controlled by the agents, 6% are for sale by owner deals. So every single gatekeeper, let's call them that way, they have their dream outcome. To an agent, what could that be? To an agent, it's basically, I want to save my face. I want to look good in front of my client, meaning the person who owns the property, wanted to list it. And then they want to make sure that it's a smooth transaction, closes on time, so that they can keep their promises. That's the dream outcome. Okay, what about a homeowner? Let's say you market directly to a homeowner, you're doing a transaction with them, so there's nobody in between. So they want something that's risk-free, that can be done in half the time, and somebody can make it twice as easy. So usually those three elements are the ones that people value. How risk-free it is, so how risky or risk-free it is, and how fast and how easy the transactions are. So think about it. What if I work with an agent? Like I said in the beginning, when I created tension with agents, I made it so easy for them that I knew that every single promise that I made, I always kept it. So they would know me by that guy who always keeps his promise. You don't know how many times I bought a property that ended up being just a complete piece of shit. You had a cracked foundation, or cracked slab, foundation was all messed up, and I never once went back to the owner, the listing agent, saying that, hey, complaining about it, this was way too expensive, I'm going to lose money. I just swallowed hard, and I was like, okay, this is how I gain trust, this is how I build trust, and this is how these people trust me going forward. And trust me, they knew potentially when they asked me. I was like, yeah, I was ended up being a little more expensive because of this and this. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's okay. It's not your fault. I should have done my homework better. But this is how you make them like you and trust you going forward, so you understand what value that means. What about homeowners? So you think of it this way. You're not really selling anything, meaning your services. You are there to help them make decisions. There have been so many deals or cases where I actually recommended the homeowner to list the property or work with somebody else because I felt that my offer was so low that it was not in their best interest. Yes, I wasn't trying to convince anybody to sell to me. I had so much conviction in my own way of working that I was able to say comfortably that, hey, look, if you guys value this, there are different parameters for this deal. So if your biggest priority is price, I suggest that you go and hire an agent and list the property at, let's say, $199,000 and see what it's going to be at the end of the day if you get offers. My offer is $130,000. Fine, I know there's a big gap. You need $200,000. That 70 or 60K, whatever the difference ends up being, let's see if we can bridge that gap down the road. But maybe, like I said, it's in your best interest to do something else. And so many times these people actually, they call me back after the fact saying that, hey, I liked your honesty. You were not trying to trick me into something or anything, and you were not trying to convince me to sell to you. So would you be willing to consider a little higher? And sometimes we ended up making a deal, or getting a deal done, sometimes not. But that, I believe, is the only way how you can help these people and also get your fair share of the deals, by understanding that your job is to help them. So that's what value to them means. Half the time, twice as easy, and make it risk-free. Okay, so last but not least, trust building place. With agents, the gatekeepers, I pretty much covered this already, but you always answer, you always show up in time, you never ghost, you never try to negotiate the price later, and you're always there for them so that they don't lose their face, they can keep their promise, right? That's your job. And then with homeowners, don't sell, help them make a clear decision, lead with conviction in your system. So this is pretty much the same thing as we went through with understanding value. So the dream outcome is always unique to every gatekeeper. Trust and value go hand in hand, number 4 and number 5. But these 12 models, so 7 ways to create attention and 5 ways to convert the attention, are my money models. This is what I follow, and these have been the things that I have followed in the past successfully over the last 20 plus years. They have made me millions. They have allowed me to get lots of rentals, get lots of positive cash flow. So if you're interested in doing the same, copy these. If you like the video, if you like the format and the content, so hit the subscribe. That would mean a lot to me, and I'll talk to you again in the next one. Until the next video.